Alright, how's it going? Welcome to Gamedev stream number 4. Today I'll keep working on my current major project, Gridle. This is an incremental game where you manage an RPG party to fight waves of enemies for you. They'll fight idly while you do whatever you want, and they'll also fight while offline. You can play the game for free. There's a demo out on the web, and you can also wishlist it on Steam right now. So yesterday, in the last stream, we worked on the first minigame of the whole game. This is a minigame that you'll unlock once you applied a so-called party orb to one of your party classes. This is the minigame that you'll unlock when you apply a party orb to the knight class. It's going to be sort of a platformer minigame where you'll fight enemies to gain rewards, and then you have to reach a goal to actually be able to claim those rewards. So yesterday we managed to get basic movement going on the character. We got the animations playing. We also got some basic fighting or combat features working. And we have this little dummy enemy that we use to test. So today the goal is to get the actual core gameplay loop working. So we want to be able to set a starting point, define some sort of goal, add an enemy kill tracker, and then once you reach the goal, we want to give the player some sort of rewards based on how many enemies they defeated. Right, so I think what I'll start with first is adding some actual camera controls, because as you can see now, the camera is static. It doesn't follow the player at all, which is not what we want. Obviously, we want it to follow the player. I've already actually gone ahead and imported a Unity package called the Cinemachine. This is a package that gives you like a really good camera controller right out of the box, so you don't have to code it yourself. Otherwise, it is obviously quite easy to do it. Usually you just have the camera copy the transform of the character. And that way you just get it snappily following the player wherever they go. But with Cinemachine you can get much more smooth mechanics, or smooth following. So I create a virtual camera and a 2D camera with a Cinemachine brain. And then I'm pretty sure in the virtual camera we want to set it to follow the character. And then we can set the lens size to 6, I think. Maybe 7? 5 or 6, yeah. I think we'll do 5 for now. Let's see if it works out of the box. Yes, it does. So as you can see, it kind of smoothly follows the player instead of always strictly copying the position. It's a little bit shaky. I know there is some sort of there's like one change you do that fixes that. Let me look that up real quick. Let's see. Update mode. We want to change the update mode here to fixed update, it seems. Yeah, there we go. That solved it. As you can see, there was like the character gets kind of blurry when you move, when it's set to smart update, but once you set it to fixed update, it resolves itself. Perfect. So that's already the camera controls working. Great. I think the next best step we should do is add some sort of a kill tracker to the enemies, so that we can easily or just display the number of kills as well as track them, obviously. So I think what we'll get started with is change the platformer enemy, or we should probably add some sort of platformer level class that sort of defines all the properties of the level. That way we can actually define in one class how far down does the enemies actually get killed when they fall, like below a certain height threshold. I think we'll start with that. We'll create a platformer manager, I think we'll call it. Right. And so we'll start by adding a public float called y minimum y level. We could set this to 15 by default, maybe. And then we want to sort of reference this from the enemy class. I think we should probably do a private. We either want to do a fixed update or an update method. I guess we'll do update. There we go. Then we'll basically just check if our transform.position.y is less than the threshold we defined here. So I think we'll do a singleton here. Public static platformer manager instance. And then here we'll set the value. We'll check, is the instance null, so it's not set yet. Then we set the singleton instance to this class. Otherwise, if it's not null, which means the instance is already set, then we'll destroy this game object. Since, once again, singleton enforces that there should only be one instance of a class. Or not game object. No, let's do game object, actually. Right, so in the update method of the enemy script, right. I see now that it will be cleaner to do this in the platformer health method, actually, since this one defines both the player and the enemies. And obviously both the player and the enemies should die when they fall below the Y threshold. So we'll do platformer manager dot instance dot minimum Y level. If we fall below this, then we want to call a die method. I think I'll make this method be actually this should be protected, of course. I think I'll make this method be, oops, sorry about that. Probably make it be virtual, if that works. Or abstract even, maybe. Abstract void die. Or not, we don't want. There. That will basically force us to define this method in all of the child classes. Otherwise we'll get a compile error. Because obviously we want to do different things when a platformer enemy dies compared to when the player dies. Yeah, so I think we'll try that here. Then we want to do, or it's protected, right? They need to have the same scope as well. What we do is we call create protected override void die. And here we actually do the logic for the enemy. And of course we need to define it to the player as well, otherwise we'll get an error. There. Now there's some warning here. Right, we're calling update here, so we need to do base.update. There we go. Right, so now I have some sort of logic here for the falling out of the world. Die method for the enemy. I think we'll start by just calling destroy on the game object to just make sure it works. And then of course we gotta add a platformer manager game object. We'll give it a platformer manager script, and that already has the minimum Y level. And now hopefully the skeleton should get destroyed when he falls out of the world. So let's see. Oh, he already, yep. So that worked fine. Great. Now obviously we gotta track the amount of enemies that has been defeated. I think we'll do that in the platformer manager as well. So we should probably first have a private integer that defines the total number of enemies, as well as a private integer that defines defeated enemies. We'll define a method called defeated enemy, and that will just add 1 to the total number of enemies. I think we should also, while we're at it, add a small helper function for the display that we call get level progress as string. Yeah. That's giving us red for some... Oh, because we're not returning a string. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll just return the defeated enemies with a slash and then with the total number of enemies. So that will just give us, like, in the form of 5 out of 10. That's how many enemies you've defeated. Right. So back to the platformer enemy. Once the enemy dies, we'll just call platformer manager instance defeated enemy. Right, I think that should do it. I don't think we'll get multiple calls to this, but just as a, I guess as a safety precaution, we can add a boolean called isDead, which will be false at the start, obviously, but then in the actual die method, we check if we're not dead already, then we do this logic. And then we also set isDead to true, just to really make sure that this only gets called once. Right. I think that should add progress now. No errors. So we should probably add the progress display while we're at it. We'll have to where is it? Here. Scale with screen size. We need to set reference screen size here just to make sure this scales properly. And I think we'll probably put the progress bar up here. I think that looks fine. We want the universal panel that we use everywhere. I think that one looks better, like with the more rounded corners. Yeah, I think so. And then I just want to make sure that I use the same colors everywhere. I'll just go back to the main game scene. We're using this as the base color. So let's set that here. And then there's also a shadow and a highlight that we gotta give it. We have this, which is the highlight. Which one did we do? Yeah, it was that one. Give it the highlight and the shadow. There we go. Obviously it blends in with the background, but this is not, of course, the background color that we're gonna use. So we'll do a gray color for now. Right. We'll call this enemy progress. We'll add text mesh pro, center it, set it to the correct font, and we gotta scale this up a little bit. I think something like that should be readable enough. So say we have 0 out of 10, it looks like this. But then of course we want to display like a small enemy here as well. Let's see if we have any sprites that contain these. I think they're all called like idle. Yeah, there's a lot of sprites that we can use out of the box. Let's see. I mean, obviously he has some form of animations already. Like he has some sprites. Let's just see what they're called. It is idle 0, yeah. Let's just use that one then. Paste, there we go. And how do we scale this properly? Times 40 divided by 32. Yeah. There we go. I guess something like that. Should work fine, right? Yeah. It's great. And then let's also make sure that the text will not overlap with the enemy. Sort of like that. And even if we really want to nitpick, then we should probably make sure the text is sort of centered in the image. So 150, I think. Yeah. We can push him in a bit. There we go. I think that's fine. Right. So the enemy progress bar. How do we want to actually display this? I think the cleanest way would just be to give the platformer manager like directly a reference to this. So we'll import the TextMesh Pro library and add a reference to the public tmp.text. which will be the level progress text. And then in the defeated enemies, we'll just call set the text to the get level progress as string value. And then we can make this private, of course. Give it a reference to the text. We'll rename this too. And we'll see how it works. I just noticed we should probably, in the start method, we should probably call update the text. So I think we'll make a separate method called update progress text, which will just run that line. Because that way we can call it in start. Because as if you may have noticed that the total number of enemies is 0 right now, like that's the default value. But it didn't update when we started the game. It still said 10 here, like 0 out of 10. And that obviously it shouldn't do. There we go, 0 out of 0. So now we'll we knock this enemy out of the world. We should see the text updating. And I just noticed, hold on, I did the camera change in the during play mode, so it didn't get saved. There we go. Come on, get out. There we go. It's 0 out of 1. Okay, so we got it the other way around. Oh yeah, we're updating total number of enemies. That's wrong. We should add to defeated enemies. Of course. There we go. 1 out of 0. Perfect. So then, right, we got that going. Now let's actually create like portion of a level, I guess. Can we jump 2 blocks high? I don't think so, right? Or can we? Let's see. Oh, I just died. Oh, we can. Perfect. Great. That opens up more opportunities to actually make levels, I guess. So that's perfect. Right, so where do we want to put the goal, I think? Obviously, we don't want to make it too large because I want to be able to play test this quite quickly. I think we'll just put the goal here. So we will make it a beautiful white square. There we go. On its goal, add a box collider. Make it a trigger so we don't actually collide it. We just get updates when something collides with it. Right. So to detect the the collision, I guess we should probably make a separate script for this. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. Create a platformer goal, which will just... Actually, now that I think about it, I think I can make this like a general function. Same as... there was something else we did yesterday where... Yeah, I think it was the ground check. Yeah, where we literally just check for on trigger, and we just pass the event back to some other parent class. Yeah, so I think I should probably do a general function for that right now. Let's see here. Audio characters classes. Miscellaneous, maybe? Yeah, I think we'll do in the miscellaneous. Trigger on trigger class. So what we'll do here is we'll just define two subscribable functions. We'll do public delegate. Wait. Yeah, public delegate void. Trigger happened. Sorry, trigger happened. And that should take a collider 2D. Just call it collider 2D. And then with this, we'll define two subscribable functions. So public trigger happened on trigger enter. I don't think that'll work because it's the same name. Or will it? On trigger. Oh, it's on trigger enter 2D. I think we'll do on trigger enter to the event. I think we'll call it. That did not work. Why? Must declare a body because it... Oh, right. It shouldn't be parentheses. There we go. And then we'll add another one. Public trigger happened on trigger exit to the event. There. And from here, we should be able to just create the on trigger enter 2D class as well as, or function, as well as the on trigger exit 2D callback. Right. And in here, I guess we would just do on trigger enter 2D event question mark dot invoke with the this parameter that we got. And then we'll do the exact same thing, but we'll do it with on trigger exit 2D event. Sorry. There. I think that should do it actually. That'll mean we can now we can from our other classes just subscribe to these methods on like a reference object. So for example, we can remove this in a ground check, and instead in the platformer movement, we'll just add our own methods here. So we'll add these methods being public void ground check entered, and we take a collider 2D, and the same way we do a public void ground check exited collider 2D there. So then all we gotta do is of course we need a reference to the ground check, And our reference to the ground check will not be the ground check class. It will be on trigger class ground check. There. And then all we gotta do is subscribe in the awake, as well as unsubscribe in the on destroy. So we'll just do ground check dot on trigger enter to the event plus equals our ground check entered event, as well as the ground check trigger exit to the event. We'll do our own ground check exited. Oh, exited. And then we'll just do these in the undestroy, but we'll unsubscribe to the events. There. And then obviously in our own methods, we'll just call touching ground equals true. Oh, it's a function, right? And or I guess we could remove this, to be honest. But let's not. There could be other things we want to do later. And in the ground check exited, we'll just call touching ground to false. There. So that should, in theory, allow us to completely delete our ground check class. If I'm not mistaken. Let's see if that will compile. Yep, it did. And now let's try. Instead of having a ground check, we have a on trigger class, and we've removed the ground check. And then we gotta reference the on trigger class with the movement script there. Now let's see if we can still jump. Yes, perfect. So now we have like a general script for subscribing to other game objects on trigger events, which is perfect. Great. So then, we were doing the door, right? So let's, with the goal, let's add the same class, on trigger class. And then we'll have a reference to that in our platformer manager. Public on trigger class, goal object, or just the goal, I guess. Once again, in our awake, we want to subscribe to the goal on trigger and on trigger enter and on trigger exit, obviously. Goal that on trigger enter to the event plus equals. I guess actually we don't even want to subscribe to the exit. I don't think. So we really just care about when the player reaches the goal. Object hit goal, we'll call the function. We gotta define it. Object hit goal. That should take a collider 2D once again. And in here we can do the actual collider logic. So I guess first we want to make sure that it was actually the player that touched the goal object. So we will check if collider 2D dot get component, and we'll try to get the platformer movement component. This is obviously only applied to the player object. We check if the return value of this is not equals to null, which means there was a component of this type on the object. Then we know that it's the player, and we can keep going with the win logic. Right. let's just, I guess we'll check to make sure that this works. I think we'll just add sort of temporary win UI pop-up. Let's do 800 by times 4 divided by 3. What? No, so 3 divided by 4. That's 600. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's try that. Let's add the highlight and the shadows to this. Of course, they need to be the more squared ones. There and there. Add some text to the top. This. See here. $64. I think larger. 72 maybe. Level completed. Go. I think once more we will display the defeated enemies in some way. I think there will be different types of enemies. What I want to add. So we should probably do the enemy defeated thing, like sort of a subsection. So we do something like this. Level completed, enemies defeated. And then here we'll add another sort of thinner panel. Sort of like this. And let me just check real quick what color we're using for that. We have the game scene Steam. Here. There's a much darker color. Let's see here. There. And I just noticed that we are indeed using like the more rounded panel for the larger panels as well. So let me just change that real quick. Is it, which one is it then? There. That one. Is that it? I think that's it, yeah. We'll make this rounded, of course. There we go. Maybe now that I look at it, it should be thinner. There we go. So in here, we could display all the defeated enemies, of course. So you'll kind of get them aligned horizontally, like 5 skeletons, 6 spiders and whatnot. So we have the enemies defeated. I think we should make a parent object that holds these. Enemies defeated. Just so we can sort of group them together. That way we can easily just toggle stuff on and move it around. So we'll have the enemies defeated. And then this shadow. Right. So I think what I want to do is add like a separate screen for actually claiming the rewards that you get. So instead of displaying it like this, rewards obtained, I think we should have a button that just says claim rewards, and then you get a ton of like a pop-up with tons of particles and whatnot. So it makes it really satisfying once you claim the rewards. Yeah. So let us add a button here. So what are we using for the buttons? Am I just using the panels there as well? Just check it real quick. Yes, I think so. What is it that we're using? They're called... No, not that one. Oh, fill. Yeah, right. I'll try doing that for this button then. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. 75 times 4 maybe. Here we go. Yeah. I think I'm happy with that. At least for now. What if we make it black? No, I think white is better. 64 is a bit too large. But what if we might... No, I think... Let's try 48. Yeah. I think I'll do that. Right. So enemies defeated. We have a claim button. We'll give this the juicy button component. And now we've created a pop-up. I think we'll do just a claim pop-up after. Level complete panel, we'll call it. Then we should probably add a reference to this again in the... Right, in here, Platform Manager. We already have the code ready. So I'll just add public game object, level complete pop-up. And then once we hit the actual goal, we just set it to active. And that should be it, I think. Yeah. Of course, we need to once again add a reference to this game object, as well as a reference to the goal on trigger class. But now we should hopefully see the pop-up screen once we reach the goal. Yes, we do. Perfect. And I have this claim reward button, which I see now that it should be... it's a small nitpick, but we should anchor it in the middle. There. That way it will scale up the middle point as the actual anchor. If you notice, you might have seen that it kind of scaled upwards more than it did down. There we go. It's much better. So once you click on claim rewards, we'll just we'll give you the reward pop-up. Right. So let's get started on that one then, I guess. Now the question is, do we want... I think it could look good to just have it be sort of like a full screen faded black background. Sort of like this. Like you get this pop-up, and on top of that is the actual UI. Like you get a chest that pops up like this. Maybe it shakes a little bit, and then it opens and reveals whatever it is you get. See, now there's no this sprite does not have any opening animation, but we can make one probably. Or there's no opening sprite even. There's this one I have, but yeah, this one, not sure if I like this one actually. I think this one suits the game much better with this style. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. This one suits it much better. But yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. And then we'll just display the rewards that you have acquired down here or something. Like, oh, you got this, and it kind of adds up as you open more and more chests. Yeah. I think that's how we're gonna do it. Opening reward panel, that's what we'll call it. There are these 3 types of chests. So I think we could do different. There's also the 3 sizes. So there's like 9 possibilities of tiers and levels that we can do. So you don't always get the same chests. Like you get this, which is a common one, a rare one, and then like legendary or whatnot. Yeah. So that's a lot of stuff already that we gotta do. Like we have to define the different chests that I'll probably do with scriptable objects. The chests have to define some sort of rewards, and the rewards need to contain both the item and the amount, as well as maybe some rewards should be just pure XP or currencies. And then from there we need to give the player a number of those chests based on the enemies that they've defeated during the level. So then we also need to have we need to define different enemy types, which is another scriptable object, I guess. Okay, it's a lot of code to do all of that. But it's doable. It's definitely doable. It's just a bit of grind. So let's start with my sort of internal database that I have. And let us do... we have items, knowledge, levels, skills. Alright, no, not the database. These are the actual defined items. We need to write the code for the scriptable objects first. So we have that here. So what do we want to call it? We need two things for the chest. Or 3, I guess. No, 2. The rarities can just be enums, I think. We'll need one for the, we'll just call it like drop, I think, or reward or something. So that will contain what type of drop it is, if it's an item drop, if it's a money drop, if it's an XP drop. You'll need to contain a rarity. And it will need to you'll need to contain the amount. I think that's it. Yeah. We'll call it a drop, I think. Drop. And this will be a scriptable object, and I'll need to define a, what is it? It's create asset menu. Or is there like a scriptable object thingy here? No. I know it's create asset menu. And then it's like, I'm gonna see if I know this in my head. It's like menu item. No, there's no way. File name and menu name and order, right? So the file name will be just drop, the menu name will be drop, and the order is 0. We don't care about the order. So if you don't know, a scriptable object is it acts sort of like normal classes in object-oriented programming, in that you can define objects out of them. But the way you define them is you do it inside of Unity, and they persist across over playtimes. So while you'd often maybe define a bunch of items when you start the game, like, oh, I have my health potion, I have my knife, I have my sword, and whatnot. Well, you maybe usually define that during startup. Instead, with scriptable objects, you define them immediately in the editor, like I have done with my items, for example. Like I have a health potion I have defined with all of the properties. So that makes it much easier to sort of manage all of your objects that you use in your games. Right. So what we define in here is just what are the different fields that we can specify for our objects. So we'll start with an enum that will define the type of drop. So it can either be item drop, it can be a money drop, or it could be an XP drop for now. And then of course we need to actually use this enum like that. Furthermore, we'll just define the amount. And I will do this in an integer. I think should be fine for now. And on top of this, we need a rarity. So the question is, how do we want to do the rarity? I think honestly, I think I will do the rarities as a scriptable object themselves, because that way you can define. That's how I did it in Eternamine as well, because that gives you the ability to define like colors and whatnot really easy. Like what color is the common rarity, what color is the legendary rarity. Yeah, I'll do that real quick. Just define a rarity, and we already have a rarity. Oh. When are we using that though? That's weird. I didn't know. I mean, that's good, because then we don't need to implement it. I think maybe the items have it. No, they don't. Where are we using rarities? Skills, levels, knowledge. Enemies, maybe? No. Huh. Well, that's great. So we can just use that immediately. Public rarity, rarity. Now let's see if we can define this. We have the drop here, and it now contains the type, item money XP, the rarity, which, oh, we don't even have any defined. Right, so we're not using rarities anywhere at this point. So we should probably start by defining those then. Let's see, let's create a new folder. Call it rarities. Start with the first one, which should be common. Call it common, ID 0. Make it sort of a grayish color. Then we'll do one, which will be uncommon, and we give that a light green color. Oh, these are also fully transparent, which we gotta change, of course. There we go. 2, which is rare. Give it a light blue color. 3, which is epic. We'll give it purple colors. I probably might want to change the names and the colors to be a bit more unique. But I'll do it like this for now. I forgot to change the labels. Rare, we got epic. And then we'll want legendary. There we go. So now we've got the rarities done. We have defined our drop scriptable object. Now we want to define the reward, I guess. What should we call it though? Because I want this to be usable in other ways too, like outside of this minigame. So if we define a scriptable object that can hold, it can hold several drops, and it can give a random amount of these drops. Like you can define a minimum amount and a maximum amount. It takes all of the drops and then it just randomly gives you a random number of them. Drop bundle sounds kind of weird. Reward bundle, maybe, I guess. No, I think we'll do drop bundle. That kind of explains what it is, I think, since they're called drops, like the single ones. Drop bundle. This, of course, should be another scriptable object. There we go. And we'll do the whole create asset menu thingy. Now, this should then contain public list of drops, which are the potential drops. Should have an integer of min number of drops and max number of drops. And this in itself, this drop bundle, could hold a rarity, I guess. Yeah. And now that I think about it, since we have several classes that has a rarity, there's no way right now to just get the rarity like from any general class, if that makes sense. So I'm pretty sure I did this in Eternamine too. I created a so-called interface. Do I have any interface class or folder? No, I do not. Interfaces. So this allows you to like specify that, oh, these classes share this same sort of feature or functionality. So if we add an rarity object, I think we'll call it. We'll make it an interface. Now, how do you do that in Unity? Yeah, there we go. So we give it an interface. I'm not sure interfaces can contain. Let's see. Can they? Oh, they can. Yeah. So we'll give it the rarity, and then we'll. Nope, that did not work. Interfaces cannot contain instance fields. Yeah. That's... So all we'll do here is add one function that returns a rarity, and we just call it get rarity. And then in the drop bundle, we just implement the interface rarity object, and then it's gonna complain that we're not using the function. We're not implementing the function. So we'll do that, get rarity, and we'll just return our rarity. And of course, I'll do the same for the drop scriptable object. Rarity object. There we go. What this basically does is we can create a general class that will return a random object based on the rarity distribution. So you don't have to create a separate class for like the drop bundle. You can have just one that takes a list of these rarity objects, and then by using this shared method, it can just return one object based on the rarity distribution for any like arbitrary list of these. Right. So now we've got the drop defined. We've got the drop bundle defined. We do have our rarities defined. Now what do we want to do? What is the next best step? Like, there's a lot of things to keep track of at once when we're doing this big addition. I think I will start by actually like creating some drops and drop bundles. Because if we do that, then we can sort of test out like the base functionality. So we just have the rarity handler just return a random object. It doesn't care about the rarities. That way we can actually start experimenting with the animations and whatnot. Yeah. I think we'll do that. Let's create a drops. I will create... Actually, this was a thing I did back when I worked on Eternamine. I had this structure where I had like a drop folder and one that just had the drop items, sort of. And they got really messy. So I think honestly, I would probably... I think I'll define them here. Just drop bundles. And I'll create a 0 land chest, 1 silver chest, and a 2 gold chest. So what we'll do is we'll start by defining the drop bundle, wherever that is. It's nowhere to be seen. Did I not? Right, yeah, I did the exact same name here. That's why. Create a drop bundle. Call it 0. Land the chest. This will have the common rarity. It will give you 1, 2, 3 items, I think. And then we'll just define like 2 drops for now. We'll give it a small health potion, which is an item. It is a common drop. Oh, I just realized we don't actually have an item field in here. Let's see how we do that. Like if there's any way to expose a field only if one enum is checked. Let's see. Alright, let's not do that now, I guess. So let's just define an item field, which will contain the item. Here we go. So we have small health potion. Give it 1 amount. And then let's add like an XP drop, I think. Which will be uncommon and it'll give you 100 XP. And then all we gotta do is just drag these drops into the drop bundle. There we go. I think honestly I'll just duplicate this entire folder to make this testing process faster. So we'll do 1 silver chest. We'll change this to medium health potion and maybe 250 XP. Oh. And we'll do the same for the gold chest. There we go. Another thing I guess we want to do for the drop bundles is add some more like display info. Obviously now they just contain the most relevant data, but we want of course a string for the name of it, as well as a sprite for the icon. So call it gold chest. We'll give it a gold chest sprite. We'll do the same for the other chests. There we go. Right. Now the question is, what's our next best step here? I think we should define the rarity handler. And then we use that on this once we open up this panel. And give a random chest based on what it returns, obviously. Yeah. I think that's our best step here. So we define, yeah, I'll do that. Classes, we will create a rarity handler. And now, well, how will this work? The rarity handler is not going to be, it's not going to be a mono behavior. Like, it's not going to be a game object in the scene. It will just be a normal object-oriented class. So we'll create the constructor for it. Rarity handler, and that should take a list of rarity objects. Like that, I think. We store this internally. Private. Oh. Rarity objects. There we go. That way we'll just have a reference to all of the rarity objects that we want to use. And then we'll create a function called that returns a rarity object, or no, an rarity object called get random object, I guess. For now, I think we'll just randomize it completely. So we just return one random rarity object out of the list. We'll do that for now, temporarily. Because that way we can continue with the core gameplay loop. So, in our platformer manager, so this is the part where we might want to start separating this into several classes, because it feels like it's getting bloated with like different responsibilities. How did it go? Yeah. No, you know what? I think it's fine. I think we can keep pushing stuff into this class. So what we'll do is we'll define a list of drop bundles called potential rewards. I know I said I want to maybe drop different stuff based on different enemies, but I think honestly that might be a bit overkill. We could define different enemies, like with different behaviors and whatnot, but I think we should just randomly roll a chest for each enemy that you've defeated. I think we'll just do that. Right, so we have the potential rewards. We also want to... Now I think about it. So if we define the rarity handler in here, then from our like reward pop-up, we need to call the platform manager to call the rarity handler to get a random object each time. Yeah, alright. Let's just define our rarity handler in here. Reward handler. And then in our start method, we will set this to a new rarity handler. and this takes a list of the interfaces. I don't think we can directly pass this list. Yeah, no. Yeah, we can't convert it. Can we do like list of hierarchy object? Does that work? The name list of does not exist. List of. Let's see here. Do we have any quick fix? Generating, no. With properties, no. No, I want to just convert the list. Unity convert list of objects to a list of their interfaces. Let's see here. I know I have done it in Eternamine. Let me think about where I did this. I think I'm gonna pull up some Eternamine code real quick to see how I did it there. Let's check here. Scripts. Where could we be creating the Verity handler? I guess while we're at it, let me just pull up the Verity handler. I can just copy paste that if I find it. But let me see how I used it first. We have the crate handler. Where do we have that? Or am I using it in a dark mine? I think I might be using it in dark mine. Yeah, Verity handler here. New list, Verity object. Oh, that was almost too easy. Verity object of potential rewards. Okay, there we go. That was too easy almost. Right, thanks to Eternamine. So now I have the reward handler. I guess we'll do a wrapper function then that just returns a Verity object. Get reward. Or actually, I think we could convert it here. Drop bundle. Get random reward. Get random object. I think we could just convert it maybe. Yeah. Perfect. Or cost it, I mean. So that worked well. Now I have this function. This function will return a random drop bundle. Based on what we put in here, which will for now be all of our 3 chests that we've defined. There. Right. Next step would be, I guess, creating code for the reward panel. So we'll start with opening the panel. We'll ask the level manager how many enemies did we defeat, or we'll just tell it to give us all the reward bundles outright. Maybe that's better. I think that is better, yeah. Let's create a function like that. Public list drop bundle called get all rewards. So then what we'll do is, for now, I think we'll just loop for integer I equals 0, while I is less than defeated enemies plus 1, because we want to always give 1 reward at least, even if you don't defeat any enemies. Or maybe let's add, that feels kind of weird. You get, for killing 1 enemy, you get double rewards. So let's do let's give 5 initial rewards and then 1 more for each enemy that you defeat. Oh, of course, we gotta create an empty list first of the drop bundle. Rewards. What's new list of type drop bundle. And then what we'll do is we'll just rewards.add get random reward, which will return 1 drop bundle. Now we can set this to private also. And then once we've looped through and added random rewards, we'll just return this list of rewards. And now we can use this in the reward display, which is much cleaner. Right. Let's see here. Object hit goal. I think we'll start with adding a simple claim rewards function, and I will have the reward pop up. I think. Or do we wanna? I think we want to do a... We want to create a class first. Reward pop-up. And then we want to reference that in the platform manager, because that way we can call a function inside of it. Public reward pop-up. We just call it reward pop-up in here. So what we'll do is we'll set the reward pop-up game object to true, or to active, to be displayed, of course. And that's all we'll do for now. Reward pop-up, we have that here. We reference it in the platform manager. And then what? We want to call it. Want to call the function when we actually click the claim rewards button. So we'll do on click platform manager dot claim rewards. There. And that should do it now, I think. Like if we run this, let's just mess about with the enemy. Oh, that was bad. I'm really happy with this mechanic. Like, this feels much more fun than just adding a health bar and slashing the enemies a couple times till they die. Oh. No! I died as well. Okay, let's not mess about. Oh. There we go. Level completed, claim rewards. Yeah, then we get this pop-up. And of course, small little nitpick, we want to hide the level complete pop up when you claim rewards. Go. Personal Haiti. Hi, what's up? Hey, how are you doing, man? How's it going? There we go. So then let's start coding the reward pop-up, I guess. All right. There's lots of things we want to do here, I guess. For starters, I guess we'll take. Can I ask you something? Yeah, go ahead. Take a list of drop bundles. Call it rewards. No, wait. We gotta display rewards. Should take a list of drop bundles. Just call it rewards. We want to have a private copy of this list. Here we go. And then from here we want to start displaying the actual rewards, I guess. So I think I'll start with creating a sort of a tracker. I is kind of just yeah, naming it I is not good. It feels. Can you add my icon in your game? Well, I'm not sure what you mean with your icon. Private integer. My icon. Sorry, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Do you mean your profile picture? Private integer current reward, I think we'll call it. So set that to 0. And we'll add a function called display next reward. So this is what we'll go to my icon like an Easter egg. Yeah, I'm a bit cautious with adding random like images and whatnot, because obviously there's lots of licensing issues. Depends on if you actually have the rights to whatever you have as your icon. Display next reward. So we'll do. I think we'll check if the current reward, like the current reward we're at, is less than the rewards, the number of rewards. We'll do all our logic, yada yada, and then we'll do add 1 to the current reward and wait, no. No, this should be called by the player, I think. But we'll call it once in here, but we won't do it recursively because that will make this will make it display all the rewards at once, and you won't see them one by one. Right. Let's see here. We gotta open up this again. So, how do we want to do this? Is the question. Can you do physics stuff in UI elements? I don't think so, right? Can you? Oh, maybe. What if we give this some gravity? That would be really cool. Like we make this just fall like it does in the base game. Yeah, it works. And what if I add... I did not know that. Can you add like physics, like collisions and whatnot too? Let's see. So we had a box collider to both of these. And now if it falls... Ah, no, it doesn't collide. So there, layer UI, layer... Could that be why? What if we set them to default layer? No! Stop! Please collide. Let me look that up. Unity, make UI objects collide. Is it possible? Please. There's some people mentioning doing the 3-dimensional. Can't add because it conflicts with the system. Yeah, okay, let's try adding a box collider and adding a normal rigid body. See what happens. Please. No, it's passing through it. Oh wait, it's really tiny box collider. That could be why, I think. Oh yeah, they're not... What? Right, because these are like huge. Let me try scaling them then. 500 by 100. Please, please collide, please work. Yes, yes. Okay. So maybe let's try it with the 2D, like rigid bodies and box colliders. Let's do 500 by 500, and this one was 100. Please, please work, please work. Yes, it works. Okay, that's awesome. Right. So then we can display, yeah, we can display this in a really cool way. And now if we give it back the UI layer, both of them. Let's see. Yeah, it works. That's awesome. And let's have a chest. So then let's just hide this, I guess. Or maybe make it like... What if we do... What if we do like this? We do it height of 250, no, maybe more. 400. We gotta give the chest some more gravity, I think. Something like this. Let's try it. Ah! Oh, right, I forgot to scale the box collider. It should be 400. That's weird, it doesn't scale with the rect transform. It's still acting weird. Oh, because what? What is going on here? It should be right, so it's not doesn't follow the direct scaling, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I think that works fine, and we gotta give it continuous collision detection. Otherwise it does that weird clipping thing when it lands. There we go. And what if we give it like a slight rotation at the start? And let us also give it even more gravity. There we go. And then you click this and it opens. Once it's opened, you just get a new chest over and over. And then down here, I think, we want to actually display what you've gotten. Yeah, I think that's... that would work quite well. So let's start with... we want to have sort of a spawn position for the chests. To put that like up here. And let's create a reward chest, reward panel chest. Let's make this a prefab. Let's set it like this. Of course, we gotta also, I guess, get the box collider to be better. 450 minus 25. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah. Reward panel chest. We'll make it a prefab. That way we can actually start defining it here. So we'll have a public game object. Reward chest prefab, and we'll have a public transform, which is the chest spawn point. So in the display next reward, we want to instantiate prefab. Reward chest prefab at the chest spawn point position, and then with the identity quaternion, which means just no rotation. It's like a fancy word for zero rotation. Right. Now we want to add, we want to have some clickable function for it. And we also want to have what? We want to display the actual rewards, I guess. Yeah, we want to display those down here. That should be doable today, hopefully. Let me just run to the bathroom real quick. I'll leave my party grinding while I do that. And I'll be back in 2 minutes. Alright. Oh, we got a chest. Perfect. And it just disappeared. Alright. Womp womp. Right. So, this panel we want to keep working on. So there's two things we need to do now. First is you click the chest and you get the corresponding reward. And then we want to display rewards. Yeah, that's about it, I think. So let's start with adding a I guess a grid layout group that allows you to like display all the child objects in a grid-like manner. So when we create stuff underneath this, it gets displayed like this instead of just stacking on top of each other. So let's start by setting up all the parameters for this. I think I want to do upper left. I want to have 50 padding to the left, 50 to the right. No, that was the top, sorry. 50 to the right. Top, we want to do maybe 25. 25. 25 by 25 spacing. So like this, then we can, I mean, obviously we can fit a lot of this up. I see now that this is, for some reason it seems to be like more biased towards this way. Right, that's because we're starting in the upper left. Let's see, let's align them middle center. And let's see how the first child object gets. Right, then they get added like this. Which is that's not really what we want, I think. So let's do upper left for now. Let's see how it turns out later. Right, reward, display. I think we gotta start with adding a button component to the reward panel chest. I think we'll just add a normal one. Yeah, because the juicy button, the one that scales it, could make it clip into the ground or whatnot. Yeah, so we'll just do a normal button that we should be able to yeah, I think that's true. We should be able to take the prefab that we created here, temp object, and we should be able to fetch the button component equals temp object dot get component button. What? Oh, that didn't work because we don't have the Unity UI library. There we go. Oh, it's Unity Engine, of course. Now we should be able to just set the onClick event, I think. Not onClick equals display next reward. Maybe, no. Plus equals, maybe? Let me look it up. Unity button set on click in script. It is onClick.addListener. And I guess there's no parameter. Okay. Oh, we want to do delegate like that, seems. No? On click.add listener delegate. What is it complaining about? Oh, it expected it here. Oh, right. Yeah. So that should work. So now we take the button on click from the chest that we spawn. And we tell the game that, hey, once we click this chest, spawn a new one, basically. Is what's going to happen. So let's do that. But also... I think I'll keep a reference to the currently spawned chest. Like this. Currently spawned chest. And then if that is not null, we'll destroy it. There we go. So now in theory, this should cycle between the chests once we start clicking them. I think that's it. Do we have... No, we don't have the prefab assigned, of course. Reward panel chest. And then the chest spawn point we gotta assign. There. I think that's it. If we're really lucky now, then it should start cycling between... Oh, and I can't jump. Yeah, there is some problems with the movement. Okay, I gotta remove that. Let's see here. Claim rewards. And... Oh, and I just... I just collided with the UI as well. I didn't think of that. The character... Default. I guess that's the... That's where you don't want to usually add colliders to UI. I think we'll hide all of it. Or like make it not collide with anything except other UI elements. Hopefully that will still make it clickable though. Yeah, it is. Okay. Right, we got a null reference exception. Okay, that's not the problem here. Huh. So it is displaying this, but it's not, doesn't start spawning. This current reward equals no 0 if current reward is less than rewards.count. Oh right, we're not even calling this function, I don't think. Okay, yeah, right. We're just setting the panel to active. We of course has to call the start display function too. Display rewards, and then we'll just return what we get from get all rewards, which obviously gives us all the rewards for that level. Right, let's see. Claim rewards. Still nothing. Why is that? Are we... Let's see, get all rewards. Rewards. While I is less than defeated enemies +5, we'll get a random reward. And then what are we doing? Yeah, let's start by number of rewards. Let's start by debugging how many rewards we're actually returning once the level is done. That's probably the most probable cause. That it's 0. No, it is 5. Okay. Game sound player. Okay, I think we'll just add a game sound player here, so we don't get that error at least. Oh, and it needs different pitches, so I just gotta copy it from the game scene. Hold on. Sound player. Minigame. Paste. There we go. So we don't get that error, at least. Right, so it is returning a list of 5. It's adding them. It returns. We pass that to the display rewards function, which sets the internal reward list. We set our current rewards to 0. If that is less than the number of total rewards, which it is, because 0 is less than 5, obviously. And if we have a chest currently spawned. Right, this I gotta change, I see now. But that's probably not the cause of the issue, but I'll do this. We gotta reset the currently spawned chests. Yeah. This should work. I think. But obviously, it's not working. I mean, let's try. We fixed the null reference, except they shouldn't be the cause of the problem, but it could be. Yeah, no, that wasn't the cause. Reward panel chest clone. Oh wait, it's instantiating it. Right. Yeah, that's the problem. The problem is we are creating the object, but this is a UI object and we're not setting it underneath the canvas. Look, this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a child object of the panel. And that's super easy to do. We just gotta there's 2 ways to go about it. Either in the instantiate, we just pass the parent transform, and that will spawn it at 0 as a child of the parent. But I think the better way is to set its parent after we've spawned it. So currently spawn chest.transform.setParent, and that should be our own transform, I think. Yeah. I guess it might be that we need to do rect transform. I'm not sure. Let's see here. There we go. Now it's working. And if we click it, we get a new chest. We click it, get a new all. And yeah, the 5th chest is the last one we can click. Perfect. So now we got that loop done. Next step is to actually give the rewards, I guess. And this is gonna be tricky. Because now we need to communicate between the different scenes, sort of. So we have, let's see here, Gamedev. We have the enemy spawn points party, level scenery, canvas, player data. I think this is a singleton, so hopefully we should be able to just outright copy this. Let's see, do we have the inventory here? We do not. That's why is the inventory separate? That's a question. It should not be separate, obviously. So let's copy this, give it to the player data. There we go. And let's remove the inventory. There. So in theory, let's just check, I guess, first of all. That is still working fine. Yeah, no errors. Okay. So in theory, we should be able to just copy this and paste it into our minigame scene. Hopefully. And then we'll be able to give stuff to the inventory from here. No, there's some exceptions, of course. Click remote global stats instance. Yeah. Right. There's a lot of like initializing code. That's from other classes, which is kind of annoying. So I guess... I mean, this player data is going to follow the player anywhere they go. Like it will be here when you do the minigame. You will be able to access the inventory class. So it's not really a problem. It's just less of a pain point for me when testing. Right, let's just ignore that for now. I just noticed that we don't actually die as the player when we fall out of the world. So I think for now I'll just do some basic code that respawns the player. Let's see here. So in our die function, we do transform dot position equals vector2.0. Let's just do that for now, because that way we'll actually respawn. Maybe I want to add some time limit or something, and every time you die, you lose like a time limit, or just have a boring health bar, or like number of lives. Yeah, there we go. So once we follow the world, we'll just respawn now. Was that 6 chests? Oh, because I kill an enemy. Right. Of course. One thing I noticed too is we're not changing the sprite of the chest. So let's do that real quick. Wait, where was that? Reward pop-up. So that will be under here, currently spawned chest. We want to do currently spawned chest get component. We want to get the image component. Set the sprite to the rewards, or hold up. Let me increment the current reward after everything. Here. Let's set the sprite to the reward of the currently displayed reward and the icon of that reward. There we go. So that should actually set the chest. Right. Display next reward. So once we... Once we call display next reward, we want to, of course, claim the reward of the last chest, the one that we clicked. So that would probably be under here, I guess. Where we'll do claim rewards, and we'll pass the rewards of index current reward -1, I think. Since after we have claimed 1, then the current reward will be 1. So we want to claim the one at index 0. Void claim rewards. Drop bundle is what we'll take. Drop bundle. I think we'll do a simple check if a current reward is larger than 0. Just to make sure we don't get any weird bugs. It should never be larger than 0, or equal to 0, but just in case. Right, so claim reward. I guess we'll check if inventory.instance is not equal to null. That way during testing we won't get any errors, but we won't add the items to the inventory either. Right, so furthermore, we need to display what we're actually claiming, right? And as I said, I'll do that down here. So let us add a image here. Let's start setting it up. I think 125 might be good enough. I think that's fine. I think that's good. How does it look if we hide the panel outright? Not great, but not horrible either, actually. Let's try that for now. Like, just display the image and the text. Now, I wonder if I have a general image. Let's see. I do not, no. In Eternamine, I have like a general image amount display, which is perfect for these types of things. But I guess I don't have that in here. Let me just double check. The inventory slot will reveal it. Item amount slot, yeah, I do. Here. It's just an image and a text, which is perfect. Yeah, that's great. So let's just give that component to this. Item amount slot. The image will set and we'll set. Oh, that's a normal text. Right. So I guess let's do a normal text then, even though it's a legacy component. Here we go. Oh. Prefabs UI, and let's call this reward slot, I guess. Make it prefab, and then here in the reward pop-up, we'll define a public game object, which is the reward slot prefab, and we'll define another transform, which is the reward slot holder. There we go. So here in claim rewards, we will so we have the drop bundle. I guess we need to create a rarity handler for the drop bundle items. Yeah. Let's do a rarity handler. Rarity handler equals drop. No. It's new rarity handler. And let's give it the drop bundle dot potential drops, yeah. And we gotta convert it to a list of I rarity object. There. No? Uninvocable member list can not be used like a method. What? Oh, we gotta do new. There we go. So now I have the rarity object, or rarity handler. And from here, we will... I guess let's start by, in the drop bundle, add a public integer get number of rewards. And for now, we'll just return a random value between min drops and max drops plus 1. Because random range is inclusive on the bottom limit, but exclusive on the top limit. So if we set between 1 and 3, and we just call it like this, then the value will be between 1 and less than 3, which will be either 1 or 2. But obviously, if we set 1 and 3 here, we want 1, 2, or 3 drops. So that's why I add plus 1 here. Right. Rarity handler. Now we need to get the number of drops. Also drop bundle dot get number of rewards. And then for each drop, we want to get a new drop from the rarity handler. Get random object. We gotta cast this to a drop. We get a random object from the rarity handler. Now then. Or should we... Maybe we should define this in the drop bundle, actually. So we do public list drop, get rewards. If this is even possible, like, can we create a object within a scriptable object? I guess, yeah, wait. Oh, cool. Yeah, maybe that works. Let's try it. Rewards equals new list drop. There we go. Right. So then we'll just add the drop that we got from the reward or rarity handler, and we'll return the rewards. Yeah, I think that works. So then we can just do this. List of drops rewards equals the drop bundle dot get rewards. Perfect. We'll do the adding logic only if we have the inventory, but we'll always like display the rewards, and that would be for each. Can we do for each? Yes, I think so. For each drop reward in rewards, we'll instantiate a reward slot prefab under the reward slot holder. And this type of instantiate is different from the one where we take an object, a position, and a quaternion. When we just take an object and a transform, we create the object underneath this transform, like this game object. So we set this as the parent immediately. And that will actually cause it to properly align, since this is a grid layout group. Like, it will automatically lay out the game object that we instantiated. Right, so we'll take... we don't need the game object, we just need the what was it? Item amount slot. So we'll immediately, since instantiate returns the game object, we'll just do get component on this return game object and get the item amount slot. Now we have item amount slot, and we'll just display the reward. What does this take actually? An item. No, 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 no. Ay, ay, ay. That's no good. Or could we do it? I mean, I guess we could if we only give items as the reward, but we don't really do that. But yeah, let's just, for now, I guess, let's only do the items. Reward.item and reward.amount would be, yeah, that would be it. And then if inventory is, if we have an inventory, then we'll also do inventory.add item, I think. Item reward.amount. That was not acceptable. Oh, right, we gotta do it in the loop here. It's not instance. There we go. And I guess we don't even need to null check, we just do inventory instance. Right. I think that should work, actually. Hold on, give me 1 second, I'm getting a call. Okay, sorry about that. So this should work now. Like the display should work properly, I believe. Let's see here. We gotta just assign the slot holder, and we have to actually small nitpick, but let's make that capital H. That way it will actually be spaced out in the inspector. Let's assign the where do we have it? Purchase party orb. What do we call it? It will be something with reward, right? Reward slot. Is that it? Yes, it is. Reward slot. And then reward display. There. Fingers crossed this actually works now. Oh, and we gotta hide this panel. There we go. Yeah. So fingers crossed this works properly. Let's see. Claim reward. We get... Oh, and now it's also displaying the correct sprite, right? Yep. We got a bunch of items, because this is the XP and it has... I gave it an item also. There we go. And the last one is not claimable, which we of course gotta do. But yeah. That works fine now. Which is great. I guess the last thing is... Since we can't claim the last chest, And that's a problem, of course. So I think we have to do... we don't check if the current reward is less than the rewards count. Instead, what we do is we change the button on click depending on the state of the current reward. So if our current reward is still less than... wait. If it's less than... If we have 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, and then we go up to 4, and it'll be less. If current reward is less than the rewards.count, then the on-click should do display next reward. Otherwise, we'll do something else, like... what will we do? We just won't do anything, I guess. So let's just try that and see if that allows us to get all 5 chests. And then it shouldn't do anything else after that. Let's see. Claim reward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still no. Huh. Why is that? If current reward less than rewards.count. It should be less than rewards.count. Like even the last chest. I mean, obviously it's not, so let's just do if it's less than or equal to. Then we'll do it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. No! It spawned another one. Stop. Wait, why did I... Oh, wait, that was correct, because I killed the enemy. Yeah, I probably shouldn't mess about with the enemies then. This is confusing me. Okay, let me try that. So no enemies, then we should get 5 chests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. And now instead we got a argument out of range exception. Current reward. Right. So let's not do less or equals. Let's instead do current reward plus plus at the start. Right? Bear with me. And we set the current reward to -1 initially. I think that should make it work fine. Right? Oh, let's remove the player data game object too, so we don't get those annoying errors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still an error. Why is that? Because it is still... I guess less than equals was fine. No, wait. Ah, this will make my head hurt. Like, it seems... Yeah, no, that's no good. We shouldn't do plus plus here. Right. So we'll still have it at 0. And then we start by spawning a chest. That is index 0. And then we add +1. Once we click that chest, we'll spawn a new one. Of index 1, and the new index will be 0. Huh. Yeah, it's I think the order of this is making my head hurt. So let's do current reward is -1. So this will always be like, which chest are we currently displaying? And then we gotta check if the current reward +1 is less than the reward stock count. Like if we have another chest to spawn, then obviously we spawn it. And I think that should finally do it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5! Let me click. Right, so now, now I can't click instead. Because obviously we have all that logic in here too. Display next reward. Or do we? Where are we calling claim? We're calling it here, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let's not do this. Let's not check here. Let's always call display next reward. Instead, let's only spawn a new chest if or well, I guess all of this should be done in here. Yeah. Let's display, yeah, we spawn a new chest only if this is true. Think. Huh. And then we gotta do it like that, I think. Please work now. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes! There we go. So now we got 5 rewards and no more chests. And then after this, we like, after 10 seconds or something, I guess, you get back to the main game. Right, I think honestly, I'm gonna leave it at that. It feels a pretty good, feels like a pretty good place to wrap it up. So now we got, we kind of have the core loop done. You can defeat enemies, they get tracked. If you die, you get respawned. Of course, we want to add some sort of health system or something similar to that, so you can't just jump off. And then we have the reward system in place. That gives you chests for completing the level, as well as bonus chests for just defeating enemies. That's perfect. Obviously, there's lots of polish to do, but I feel like this is a pretty good place to leave it at for the week. And then we'll do polish on Monday, I guess. So, yeah, I probably won't do any streams on the weekend. It'll probably be just the weekdays. So the next one should be on Monday around the same time. And then I guess we'll keep polishing on this this gameplay loop, and hopefully get it, tie it fully into the main game if there's time. So yeah, if you've enjoyed the stream, if you're interested in the game, make sure you wishlist Gridle on Steam. This is the game that I've been working on today for the entire stream. It's not a platformer game, actually. This is just a mini game that I'm working on. The main game is an incremental game where you manage a party to fight enemies for you. It has quite a huge rebirth system with lots of upgrades to buy. And then, as you can see, we're working on mini games as well. Right, so make sure you wishlist Gridle. And I'll hopefully see y'all on Monday once again. Thanks for watching.